Damn. Alright, so here are all the Zelda Amiibos that I made so I could take with me out of figurines. And here is the Switch too. And one good thing is I can actually have a code. Even if the joystick is hella sensitive. Let me make sure that it's getting it on camera. Yes, it is. Okay. So, I'm going to show you that the Amiibo cards still work. And by the way, you can tell these are the new ones mixed in here as well. Now, it doesn't give you too much stuff. It gives you just enough. Like, it doesn't give you, the new ones don't give you a chest. The new ones just give you some stuff. I'm not going to scan all of them on camera, just a few. Just to show you that it works. Alright, so we're going to need to go to some place where we know it's out in the open. We're going to go to Central Tower. I forgot I was at the Woodland Tower because that's the last tower I cleared. And it does load hella quick. It really does. And it's raining, but doesn't matter. Because it should still work. And maybe this isn't the best place to go because the stupid Guardians. This should serve our purposes. So I'm going to go to the rune for the Amiibo. And we got a Bokoblin. We're going to scan that. See, Switch 2. If I didn't get this fucking shit on camera, you would have never believed me. That's bullshit. I can't even check a fucking chest without fucking getting blown up. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to load this save. You see it works, though. Just love how even they make the chests magnified. So anyway, you see it scan the Bokoblin. Now I want to try to scan one of the newer cards. This is one of the ones that just came out. And it doesn't give you a chest, it just gives you a few items. But at the very least you could see it does work. So, other than that fucking bullshit where I got shocked just trying to get into a fucking chest, at least I scanned an original Amiibo and I scanned a new Amiibo so you can see that they work. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to try to show you this again because I did the first batch. And these are some of my original cards that I did. And I do have another case of these. I just can't find them, so I have to redo them again. But these are how I made mine the first time. You can tell these got some age to them because the tags are starting to yellow a little bit because of age. So I'm going to try to show you these older cards too. When I first, excuse me, goddamn, when I first got the Switch, you see all the chests and stuff. So you see I'm not bullshitting. Get out of your camera. Because I want to take pictures, put them in the compendium of some of the stuff. Alright, let me save the Smash Brothers ones for last. And let me show you the 30th anniversary stuff, because you could get cool shit sometimes. So the tag is on the back here. I like doing these, just a pain in the butt. And we're going to throw that far away. So let's see what we got in the chest. By the way, I actually, no shit, got 2 Eponas in a row. Because apparently you can get an Epona through a couple things. And by the way, if you got the camera, see, for example, I don't have a Chilfrin Trout in the album. So you see that, so now it's saving. So I always try to, like, when I get stuff, I always try to take pictures to put in the compendium. Because God forbid you need them later for a recipe, they're easier to find. Because they'll be in the compendium. Bomb arrow, okay. Oh, I forgot I gotta take off the fucking guy, your link. And... uh-oh. A wolf. And so you got the Cap of Twilight. And then there's Cap of Twilight, I think, boots, and then tunic. That's some Ocarina of Time. Ice arrow. Got the Majora's Mask. More ice arrows. Seems like I'm getting nothing but fucking ice arrows. Okay. So I need a heavy thing for this. See what we got in the chest. Shock arrow. But I know I'm doing a shitty job with the analog sticks. That's because I don't want to hold it. I want the camera to be able to see it. You see the Bokoblin beating the crap out of the dude in the background, and I'm just sitting here, just scanning my Amiibos. There's the Zelda. Soldier's bow, don't need that. By the way, always have like a cobble crusher or a sledgehammer when you're going through your Amiibos, because you want to be able to make sure you can open those boxes. Because a lot of times you can't open them with a regular sword. Yeah, I don't need that shit. And there should be one more. Well, technically 2 more, but I saved the wolf link for last. Okay, so that's all of our Amiibos. And now we're going to scan our wolf link and beat the crap out of this guy. We should get a better sword, shouldn't we? I think we should. Oh, there he is. See, because the wolf link can actually guide you to shrines if there's one nearby, and can also help you attack enemies. So let's see what we get from this guy. Sorry it took so long, Amiibos, you know. Wait, where the hell are you going? Well, fuck you then. Because usually they'll give you stuff if you save them. But yeah. So, I'm going to save. I had to do save cycling to get the weather I needed down. Because it seems like when you start the game, the weather is random. I forgot about the sunshroom. Alright. Oh, fuck, I'll save again. So now I need to do a screen cap of the phone. And by the way, doing this, the Switch is at 86%. Now, there is an issue apparently that Nintendo is aware of where you have more battery than what it's showing. So if I still feel like it's draining, I'm going to take those steps. I'm also going to take steps on my own, like not charge it until it's fully drained, or just leave it going until it's drained. Because this is an LCD screen, so you don't have to worry too much about burn-in. So they suggest you leave it open for like 4 or 5 hours, let it completely drain, then charge it up again, which is draining the battery. But they first ask you that you do recovery mode, worst come to worst, so whatever. We'll find out what happens, I guess, in a few days or whatever, see if they release a small update to fix that. So, because Nintendo still insists it's 2.5 hours at least. Whereas what I've seen to go to 1% was 2 hours. So, we'll find out. So now that you see the Amiibos work, let's go to the phone and show you them in the app. Alright, so now we're on the Nintendo Switch app. We're going to go to Zelda Notes, switch to Edition of Breath of the Wild, and we're going to click on Amiibo. And as you can see, all of our Amiibo are registered, and you can see that the earliest ones are only scanned twice, whereas the rest of them are scanned 3 times. And apparently if you scan them 5 times in a row, you're supposed to be able to scan them an additional time. Obviously, we haven't gotten there yet, but you can see all of them here, and they are registered. It's all 32 Zelda Amiibos, even the ones you forgot. So maybe I'll make a smaller video. We'll see. Alright, it is Monday afternoon. The lead-free people are upstairs with Raccoon. And figure since they're going to be up there a while, might as well close the video now. Obviously, the glass is a little dirty and smudgy because, you know, that's why I have tempered glass. You know, it gets dirty, you know. But I've had, figure 4 days with it. And spent Saturday, some of Saturday, most of Sunday, most of today with it. And what are my overall thoughts? Was it worth the hype? Sort of. And I'll tell you why. My biggest issue with the Switch 2 is battery life. Despite me changing the settings, turning the 120 hertz off because I really don't need that. Number one, the human eye really just sees at 60. On the Steam Deck, it's 90. But for a lot of the games that I play, I think only Mario Kart does the 120 hertz. And I'm basically playing Zelda and Pokemon. You know, the Switch 2 Breath of the Wild and the patch for Scarlet. But even with those 2 games and Mario Kart World, I've noticed that the battery life is just a little over 2 hours. Maybe a little under. And playing on the Steam Deck, I know playing like AAA games is only like an hour and a half. But that's a Steam Deck. This is a Switch. So I guess I expected, especially when Nintendo said 2 to 6 hours, I truly expected Nintendo to come through with the battery life, but on this they haven't. And I know some people are going to sit there and say, well, it's the early Switch, when you expect, you know, but still. I mean, I'm sure it's something that could be fixed in like an update, like for the hardware. Because a couple days ago, it seems, I don't know if it's because I needed to train the battery, where basically training it means draining it to almost nothing, and then, you know, like 1% I drained it to, and then I filled it back up to capacity. I've done that once, and I just now charge it when I leave it in a dock when I can, or I try to leave it until it gets between 20 and 30%, then charge it. So I don't know if the battery needs to be broken in, because yes, a lot of these lithium-ion devices need to be broken in, especially portables. So that's important for you to know. And I noticed today, I just got done charging it. I noticed today that when playing Zelda, and I left it for some time, the battery actually stayed. You know, a lot when it was shut off. You know, when it turned itself off. I went to cook lunch, came back, and it was at the same battery it was when I put it to sleep. So that's an improvement, because the other day it didn't. There's definitely room for improvement. I mean, I've had a great time with it. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't. I mean, I didn't even begin to scratch the surface. I just played a little GameCube, did a couple cups in both Grand Prix and Knockout mode for Mario Kart. Did that when Money in the Bank was on. Played Zelda most of the day. And yes, all of the Amiibo cards I made for the Switch 1 do work. So, and obviously, there, if you know where to find them, there's dumps of the new Tears of the Kingdom as well as the Street Fighters. So if you're not crazy about paying $40 a figurine, and you have a phone, like an iPhone or an Android with NFC, and as far as, sorry, my nose, and a tool that can make them, you can buy 20 packs of Amiibo cards from Amazon for $10, like I did, and make your own. So all of the ones I've made, now I have some, you know, granted, but, you know, it's kind of inconvenient when you got to go to the doctors and hospitals and shit and bring figurines with you. So they work. And I tested all 32 Zelda Amiibos. Yes, that's why if you look on the Zelda Notes app, there's 32, it says 32 of 32. It's not that you can have 32 Amiibos at a time. It only recognizes the Zelda ones. So there's 32 Zelda Amiibos, and that's between Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the single versions from Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess, and there was one last one, Skyward Sword. So those 3 standalones, then the 30th anniversary ones it recognizes, as well as the Zelda ones from Smash. And I was wondering, like, why the hell was I missing 3 of them? I knew about the Loftwing. I didn't scan that one. But then I forgot there was a Young Link and a Toon Link from the Smash Brothers line, so I had to get those too. Oh, brother. But anyway, I got them. I scanned them. They all work. So if you have Amiibos or your homemade Amiibo cards, or whether you just cheaped out and got them on Etsy, they work on the Switch too. Let's just, you know, maybe I'll shoot a small video before this. If I did, then you'll see that before this one. If I didn't, then I didn't. Because I already scanned them for the day, so I can't scan them again, because for Zelda, you can only scan them once in a 24-hour period. Apparently, if you scan them 5 times, I think you get to scan them an additional time a day. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the Switch. I didn't really get to play Welcome Tour yet too much, because I need to use the counter for that, and my knees have been killing me. Like, to the point I am second-guessing physical therapy. Killing me. So I haven't gotten the chance to really stand too much to do it, plus they're clicky. And I don't know if you can hear that. The background, it hurts like a motherfucker. But yeah, so suffice to say, I've had some hands-on time with it. And one thing, I mean, I like this new screen. You know, it's nice and bright. It's got the HDR. And I like the fact that it seems like I can hold it better than I could the Steam Deck. And by the way, you see, this is why all these little specks and shit. And that's why I wipe them off. But that's what tempered glass is for. You can get to clean it with a little glass cleaner or whatever. The sound is a little tinny, like the old Switch, which I don't like. The sticks, it didn't seem like much of an improvement from Switch 1. And apparently they are different, because they did an opening of, someone actually opened them up. But you can definitely tell, looking at like this, it's still the same crap that they have in the other one. Just they use a ring to cover it. So I don't know how well that's going to hold up. Obviously, it's in the case or the dock when I'm not using it. I haven't got to use really game chat too much yet. But as far as early impressions, it's good. Do I think it's $450 good? To a Nintendo fan with a big Switch library, yes. However, if you don't have, if you just casually dabbled in the Switch, like a lot of you Animal Crossing players, or like a lot of you people that say got Switch Lites, or still hung on to your original Switches, or you have the OLED. If you're happy with your Switch now, keep it for now. It's not worth running out to grab this. However, if you're a Nintendo fan and you want the latest and greatest, especially if you need something to keep you occupied with doctor's appointments and shit, obviously get one. But if you're gonna invest in a power bank, especially if you're going to be going on the road, because this thing only lasts about a couple hours, get yourself a good power bank. Now, Belkin has this case that is supposed to charge your Switch inside of it, but it's only 1.5. Like, it only fills it up 1.5 times. And it's a 10,000, I believe it's at 20 watts, I think. The one, but I found, and then that was $70 to get that case. Meanwhile, I have a better case that I like coming in, and I have it's a heavier power bank, but since I carry around a book bag, it's fine. The Energizer one is on sale at Best Buy right now for $50, and it's a 30,000 watt that it's a 30 watt and 30,000 milliamp battery, which if the Belkin is 10 and it can do 1.5, then it should be able to do the Switch 3 times. Figure 4. But especially if you're going to be out all day, you play the Switch, obviously you're going to want to charge it, invest in a power bank. And not just any power bank, because the ones I use for the phone, I have 2 of them, one for me, one for Raccoon. I tried plugging this thing up to my regular power bank, which would charge my original Switch, and also was able to charge my iPhone. And the battery drained slower, but it wasn't getting charged. So that tells me that the wattage on that power bank wasn't enough to charge the Switch. So it slowed the Switch's battery down, but it didn't charge the battery. Like, it was still draining. So it was draining off the power bank and the Switch. So invest in a strong power bank if you're going to plan on taking this thing on the road. Especially if you're going to be going to hospitals a lot where you're not going to really be able to have access to an outlet. Or if you travel too, because, it's hard to find an outlet when you're traveling. But other than that, it isn't bad. On a scale of 1 to 10 so far, or in these past 4 days, I'd give it maybe like a 7. Obviously I'm taking off 2 for the battery, and 1 because the sticks don't seem like much of an improvement. So not bad. There's room for improvement, and Nintendo, they're going to come up with an improved one. So if these things bother you, definitely wait for the improved Switch 2. They're already working on Samsung for an OLED. And of course, as the time you're watching this, Microsoft has announced their handheld, the Rogue Ally X, the Xbox version, and I might get that. I'm not rushing out to get it. It's something if it's good enough, I might consider trading in the Steam Deck for, and have that be my portable PC. But the biggest thing is I do use that as a computer, so I don't know how it's going to work in terms of that. And with the specs higher than the Series X, as far as memory, I'm thinking of trading in the Xbox. I'm not sure, because I barely use it. Why would I use that when I could play the games? I'm not really giving a shit about 4K. I only really give a shit about that for movies so much. So anyway, that's everything. And I know it's a long video, 3-something hours. I will break up the important parts, but I wanted a full diary, a video diary of this whole launch day and weekend, especially because, like I said, this might be the last console launch I ever do. As far as like the whole midnight launch, waiting online, because hell, my knees are fucked up right now, as is. So I can only imagine how much worse it's going to be in the future. So, and shout out to my Retro Life. I do support the YouTube channel, the $5 tier, because his daughter, Haley, just participated in this midnight launch as well. So I guess it's a tale of two stories, and their video's up right now, by the way. Tale of two stories, you know. Mine is ending, my last one, and hers is just beginning. So I guess it's sort of a passing of the torch, you know, from her dad to her. Obviously, her dad's going to be with her, but, you know, mine's ending and hers is just beginning. So good luck, kid. I wish it was going to be physical going forward, but let's be honest, next consoles are probably going to be all digital. So there's going to be really nothing to collect. So enjoy it while you can, and treasure a lot of the games that your dad has, because those still are some of the best games ever made. It doesn't matter whether you're playing on Atari, or it doesn't matter if you're breaking out the Super Nintendo or this thing. And that's why I'm so eager to have the classics on here, even though I could technically play them on my Switch, because I want to be able to play Nintendo or Game Boy or wherever I go. And if this is the system I got with it, so be it. Because nothing will beat those games ever. So, for the last time for this video, Rachel Schaefer signing off. Until the next time.